you kidding me with that catch, JJ?
That's how you stand up. That's how you stand up.
And that's the ball game. Touchdown, Vikings.
Welcome into Vikings Weekly. I'm your host, Tatum Everett, and the Vikings look to get back in the win column on Sunday when they host the Bengals. The Vikings all-time at home against Cincinnati, 6-0, and they look to extend that streak this weekend. Coming up in this week's show, veteran Eric Wilson takes us inside his momentum-changing plays. Head coach Kevin O'Connell opens up about his feelings during adversity, and several players' mothers gave back in such a special way. We documented the whole thing. Before we take a look ahead, Vikings legend Jared Allen received his Pro Football Hall of Fame ring at the game on Sunday. And if you liked him riding into the stadium on horseback for the Ring of Honor ceremony, he one-upped himself for this one. Take a look.
Powerful. Bold. Full throttle. As a defensive end, Jared Allen was all of this and more.
I feel the need for speed. Ow!
For 12 seasons, he manned the front lines of NFL defenses with a style
Up here, this says success. In the back, this says party.
that was his own.
Who is this Jared Allen?
Fierce and unstoppable.
Don't ever try to block me.
He accumulated 136 career sacks
Sacked by Jared Allen.
while brandishing his signature celebration,
Wears a cowboy hat and everything, and when he gets a sack, he ropes a calf.
playing the game with the heart of a cowboy. Jared led with loyalty and honor, often recognizing those who gave so much to their country.
We build or remodel houses to make them handicap accessible for our wounded vets. It's another way to give them their slice of the American dream, a functional home.
He relentlessly took us all on a wild ride for 12 seasons.
Down goes Rodgers, Jared Allen. Bad shoulder and all.
228 quarterback hits, 5 Pro Bowl selections, and the Vikings single-season sack record holder. Now becoming the 5th Vikings defensive lineman, enshrined forever in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
As a Norseman by blood, as I am Norwegian, it was only fitting that I became a Viking.
Jared Allen, fearless on the field, unstoppable in the chase, and always riding full throttle with unlimited horsepower.
Please welcome 2025 Pro Football Hall of Fame enshrinee, Jared Allen.
All right, I'll keep this short so we can get back to the real stars of the game today. I just want to say thank you to all the fans, to this great organization, to my teammates, because like I've said before, nobody gets up on this stage by ourselves. It is the dedication of our fans, our teammates, and this great organization that I'm up here today. So God bless you all, God bless America, and Skol Vikes!
There is a great piece out right now on Vikings.com and the Vikings app called The Allen Name that tells Jared's story through exclusive interviews. It is Jared Allen like you've never seen or heard before, so be sure to check that out. The Vikings started this month of September by giving back to the community, teaming up with Raise the Bar Foundation to support single mothers on scholarship with back-to-school shopping. Take a look.
It was wonderful to get back out there and shop for the kids. We had lots of fun.
We have entered in the world of Under Armour, and we get ready to shop till we drop. They gotta have pants to match because they gotta, swag it out. I like it. I gotta throw something Viking in there somewhere. I think we'll do these. We got shoes and a hoodie.
We shop till we drop. Now we've been a gritty on back to
It's wonderful. I mean, this is such a great opportunity, such a big stage to make a statement, make a point, do something good.
Such a great cause and event. Switching to the work the team does on the field. The Vikings are 1-1 heading into this Sunday's game against the Bengals. And in this week's episode of X's and O's, head coach Kevin O'Connell gets introspective when prompted by voice of the Vikings Paul Allen about game outcomes.
Do losses feel worse than wins feel good?
I said this. It's actually so. It was a late game. We had some family in town, but my oldest went to the game. Just school night, everything it was.
White sweatshirt in front of me in the bathroom.
Yep, saw him. Yep. Hopefully he was very respectful and shook your hand and looked you in the eye. That's obviously important.
He called me Pete.
But I will say this: we were driving home from the game, and he could tell I was not maybe my normal self. He's gotten used to us winning a lot of games at US Bank Stadium and driving home, and there's nothing better. But I would say this: I've told this to people before. Winning, just with all the things from a standpoint of just the next game is coming, where my mind goes to immediately after a game. Supporting any players that might have gotten dinged up, banged up with injuries in the game, and what that's going to look like. The next game arrives the moment you break down the team from a game, whether you win or lose. But what I would say is, if winning on a scale of 1 to 10 it's probably about a 4 or 5 out of 10 of joy, just because knowing, the next one, until you win the very last game you play, and that's the very last game of the season. As a coach, you're always chasing the next one.
Right.
But after losses, I would probably put it at about a 10,000 out of 10 misery.
Yeah, that's
just
weird.
Because
human nature's weird that way.
And just the way I take a lot of pride in being a foundational, person in this building that the players, the coaches, anybody in this building can look to, for guidance, for the light, for the energy, for the joy of being a part of the Minnesota Vikings organization. So there's a lot that goes into that, especially in moments where it's needed the most, which is one we're currently in right now after a disappointing performance, and now we've got to press onward early in our journey here in the season with everything out in front of us. But you feel it. You feel it in so many more ways than just the competitive nature of losing. I do hate losing more than anything in this world. It's one of the things. I've always been like that. Our quarterback shares that same feeling. He hasn't lost very many games in his football life. So, it's one of those things that I'm glad you asked that. I don't get to talk about that very much. But it is a real thing. You're here for a lot more than that.
You can find that full interview with head coach Kevin O'Connell on our website, Vikings.com, or the Vikings app. One of the players who stepped up in major ways so far this season is veteran Eric Wilson. I had the chance to sit down with him and talk about his time back in Minnesota and why he's always making so many plays.
Eric Wilson may be playing as well as any linebacker in the NFL as far as production on the ball. It's just a walking turnover machine.
And fake by Pennington, the throw is caught. What's the football? Vikings have it. Eric Wilson knocked it out. 10-8 score the round for the Vikings.
That was an awesome punch out we saw from you in the game against Atlanta. Nice little right hook. How's the left one? Just as good?
Both are really good, yeah.
Well, kidding aside, those momentum turning plays seem to be a signature of yours. What level of pride do you take in those types of plays?
I take a lot of pride in it. I just kind of turn into a heat-seeking missile and punch that thing out. I pride myself on just getting to the ball any way I can.
And a tackle right away inside the 45 by Eric Wilson.
Coach O'Connell, after the season opening win, said they wouldn't have gotten that victory without you.
Eric Wilson!
When you hear praise like that at this point in your career, what does that mean?
It means a lot, honestly. It means a lot because, I take everything personal. I put a lot into the game.
That one's blocked. Eric Wilson, who's been everywhere, got through and got his hand on that punt.
I just want to show up and for my teammates in whichever way that is, and for him to say that, it means a lot coming from him.
That hard work really pays off. In the Chicago game, Blake Cashman goes down with an injury, can't finish the game, and you go in, green dot duties. What was it like in that moment to assume that position?
I honestly thought I was getting in the game at a different position, and then they kind of tossed me the helmet, and I was like, all right, here we go.
Still to come on Vikings Weekly, we learn about Carson Wentz's special connection to the Vikings. Your KFAN radio crew answers some fan questions, and we learn more about the adversary this week when we connect with Bengals beat writer Kelsey Conway. Stay tuned. Welcome back into Vikings Weekly. I'm Tatum Everett. The Vikings are hoping to bounce back this weekend when they host the Bengals on Sunday. And after suffering an injury in last week's game, J.J. McCarthy will not be the starting quarterback. Carson Wentz gets the nod. He joined the team right after the preseason was over with and has a special connection to Minnesota. And he talked about how he's excited to make that first start in purple and gold.
I grew up rooting for this team. It's one of those things you play long enough and you kind of forget about those things because it's football. You're bouncing around teams. But being here, I kind of alluded to it when I first got here, just how cool it is for me to know, I used to cheer for the guys that I'm walking down the hallway seeing. Used to come to the Metrodome and I was waving the towel. I was, part of the skull chants, all the things. And so running out of that tunnel this week will probably hit me a little bit different in a really cool, kind of surreal way. So I'm excited for that.
He's really taken to the role he came in for, knowing that he's one play away. And then Josh McCown, Jordan Traylor, those guys have spent a lot of extra time with Carson. But like I mentioned before, he's been on those guys about, spending extra time, making sure they're staying after practice or early in the morning, just having times to go through the plays, what we're thinking, taking notes in the installs. He's been very intentional about getting up to speed in our offense in a short time. The good thing about Carson is he's had experience with a lot of different concepts over the years and different systems where he's done something either the same or very similar. So a lot of it, made sense to him conceptually, and it's just kind of with a veteran like that who's played as long as him, it's just the verbiage, just kind of connecting those systems together. Okay, this is that. This is what I know as that, and he's got confidence of our group. I know that the Thursday practice when JJ's having a baby and he has to just step in and on a third down day when you install some new plays and he really went out there and had a great day. So I think that just helped. Not that running the scout team and making plays and things like that. I think people noticed him right off the bat. He's big, he's got a live arm, all those things. But actually, stepping in. It's kind of why you have a veteran backup. He stepped in and we had a really good practice.
Wentz added that this is the first time he's played in a game with real consequences in a couple of years, but he is ready to go. It's actually going to be a battle of backup quarterbacks. Cincinnati starting QB Joe Burrow injured his toe in last week's game. Jake Browning is going to be the starter. I caught up with Cincinnati Enquirer's Bengals beat writer Kelsey Conway to talk about how the Bengals locker room is feeling after the injury.
So I would say it's shifted in the last 3 days. So after the game, when everyone in the locker room knew, we didn't know the exact results of what was going on with Joe, but everybody knew the severity of it. And you talk to players, and I talked to a couple of the offensive linemen, and they were crushed. Yeah. And so even though they won, and they're 2-0 for the first time in Zach Taylor's tenure as head coach here, they're, happy they won, but it was like this black cloud is hanging over them. And that very much felt it on Monday as well. That's when they got confirmation that Joe's injury was indeed, as bad as they thought it was. And it still felt like Zach Taylor had to say in his press conference, he's like, we are 2-0, right? You could tell he was really trying to just remind the team, the fans, through the media, we're 2-0. Even though this horrible thing happened to our franchise quarterback, let's not forget about where we are and the opportunity we have. So today, it very much feels different, where Jake Browning is going to talk later today. Zach Taylor talked about, how last night he had multiple conversations with Jake, and that really kicked off their game planning. So the vibe is lighter today. Mm-hmm. And I think what has made this easier to deal with, it's not an easy thing to lose a quarterback who has now, we're going on 3 years out of 6 for him that have resulted in these major surgeries. But because Jake Browning went 4-3 in that season when Joe hurt his wrist, a lot of those same players are still here. So I think it's allowed the franchise to feel better and not, oh my gosh, what are we going to do type of feeling.
You can find that entire interview on Vikings.com or the Vikings app. Well, we opened up the fan question mailbag this week. Lots of questions for our Vikings radio team, so here we go. The first one is for the Vox himself. It's from John in Burnsville. He asks, it's Carson Wentz time. Can PA tell me what's the most intriguing thing about him starting and give me a preview into his radio call?
Hey, John. Great question. With Carson Wentz, some of the intrigue factor involves the fact that he's smart, and the fact that he picks up on things quickly is what I'm hearing. He's also pretty athletic. He can run a little bit too. But Carson has never had more interceptions than touchdowns in a season, played in some pretty big games too. So I'm excited to see what Carson can offer regarding what a call would sound like. Wentz takes the snap, looks to the left side, shakes the shoulders, fires to the right side, and it's caught by Justin Jefferson. Touchdown, Vikings. Thanks, John. Have a good day.
This next one is from Jeff in Mankato. If you were Brian Flores, how do you plan to pressure Jake Browning and force turnovers? Vikings radio analyst Pete Bursich takes this one.
Well, thank you for your question. Now, if you're Brian Flores, yes, you want to get pressure on Jake Browning, but you got to be very prudent about how you do it. Well, what do I mean? Against the blitz last week, Jake Browning had an unbelievable day. He was 7 for 8, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a perfect 158.3 passer rating. However, when there wasn't a blitz and just regular zone defense, he was only 14 of 24, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a 31.3 passer rating. You see, Jake Browning can see the blitz. He's experienced enough to know when it's coming. And if you get your DBs rolled up in press and you have Jamar Chase on one side and T. Higgins on the other, well, he's just going to pop up and throw a fade. So Flores is going to want to get pressure because a lot of those interceptions, pressure was involved, but it was only a 4-man rush. Get as much pressure as you can out of a 4-man rush, and when you blitz, pick your spots and be careful.
And our last question is from Scott in St. Paul. He wants to know, teams always say next man up, but is there anything else they do scheme-wise? The Vikings radio sideline analyst Ben Lieber answers this.
What's up, Viking fans? So the question comes into me and says, listen, we understand that we have some injuries and we always think next man up, but is there something that we can do schematically to help everybody out, including the backups that are coming in? And I would say offensively, yes. I think that we could implore a little bit more sort of chip and release check down sort of situations. And I know check downs are not sexy, but at least they're an answer. They're a way out for the quarterback to get out of trouble. So if you're expecting a little less time in the pocket and you don't have, the running back and Aaron Jones out there, maybe you just have a little bit more 12 or 13 personnel. You're asking your running backs and your tight ends to chip, stay in the box a little bit more, even from the inside all the way out, and get kind of a slow release out in the pass game just to be an outlet. It's going to give the quarterback a little bit more time and give them an opportunity to get the ball out and pick up some chunk yardage run after catch. So that's my answer. Thanks for writing in, and Skol Vikes.
Before we go tonight, there was a special moment in Sunday's game where Jared Allen surprised our Medtronic game changer. Take a look.
In 2008, 19-year-old Lance Corporal Josh Wege enlisted in the United States Marine Corps and was deployed to Afghanistan. During a volunteer patrol in 2009, his vehicle struck an improvised explosive device. The blast caused severe injuries, resulting in bilateral below-knee amputations. Through it all, Josh demonstrated remarkable courage and resilience. Just 2 weeks after multiple surgeries, he was fitted and wearing prosthetics, taking his first steps within 6 weeks following the operations. With the unwavering support of his family and fueled by his own competitive spirit, Josh refused to be limited. Within 2 years, he was snowboarding, running track, and playing softball with the USA Patriots, a team founded by Josh and fellow amputee veterans. Josh now mentors and inspires children with limb loss, encouraging them to play, stay active, and live with confidence. His resilience and his commitment to serve beyond the uniform drew the attention of Jared Allen's Homes for Wounded Warriors. Today, a fully accessible, mortgage-free home is being built for Josh. Josh Wege continues to redefine what it means to serve without limits.
Please welcome tonight's Medtronic game changer, Josh Wege.
More special moments will be made at US Bank Stadium this weekend. It is Legends Weekend, where we pay tribute to those great players of our past and honor the ultimate captain himself, Jim Marshall. If you can't make it to the game, kickoff is set at noon on CBS. Thanks for tuning in to Vikings Weekly, and we'll see y'all next week.